The notification arrives at 6:04 in the morning, 3 hours before Dale Vaughan is scheduled to file. He's at his desk when it comes through. 7 years of documentation stacked in encrypted folders. A corruption case, so precise it names the board's own chairman in 46 separate entries. He's cross-checked every timestamp. He's verified every source. He has a witness. He has the signed transfer orders. He has the financial routing that connects the chairman's private accounts to the 3 outlet licenses that were revoked and redistributed to board-aligned publishers over the past 4 years. This morning, it ends. Then his screen wipes white. Media Licensing Board, Caldrith Metro, Press License hashtag 4471, Dale VORN, status, revoked. Professional designation revised to Fabricator. All documents produced or handled under license hashtag 4471 are classified inadmissible pending review. Archive seizure authorized under Emergency Information Protocol 9. Board enforcement units en route. He reads it twice. He is still reading it a third time when the door opens. Sela Wynn doesn't stop to explain. She picks up the single bag she's already packed. He hadn't noticed it was packed, which means it's been packed for a while, and she walks out of the office without looking at his face. The door closes behind her. Through the glass partition, he watches her badge into the elevator and disappear, and it is only then that he understands the shape of what has happened. Not a preemptive strike, a coordinated one. The board knew his filing date because Sela gave it to them. 3 minutes later, 2 board enforcement officers arrive to collect the server rack. Dale doesn't argue. He watches them carry it out. He sits very still. In his coat pocket is a single physical drive, an encrypted backup he printed to hardware 6 weeks ago, a habit left over from an earlier era of paranoia. It's inadmissible now. Everything he has ever touched is inadmissible now. The Fabricator stamp doesn't just void his license. It means any document he produces going forward is legally quarantined. He cannot publish. He cannot broadcast. He cannot even file a public record request without the board flagging it as contaminated. He picks up his coat. He walks out. He is halfway down the emergency stairwell when the second notification appears, the one no one else can see. Sovereign record, class activation detected. Condition, licensed journalist. Evidence archive seized under fraudulent emergency protocol. Fabrication of professional charge confirmed in sealed board record. Cipher mark initialized. Every document you have ever read, composed, or touched is now encoded in sovereign chain. Outside board jurisdiction. Unalterable. Unchallengeable. Broadcast. Null initialized. Speak of verified fact in the presence of a sealed lie, and the lie's original timestamp record will crack. Current cipher mark count, 412. Threshold to Sovereign Inc., 500. Dale stops on the landing between the 4th and 5th floors. He reads the notification 3 times the same way he read the board's revocation order, slowly, checking the precision of each word. Then he puts his phone in his pocket, walks the rest of the way down, and steps out into the gray morning of Caldrith Metro. He doesn't go home. He goes to a public terminal kiosk 2 districts away and begins to work. The first thing he does is compose a single sovereign chain document, a 200-word summary of the fraudulent emergency protocol order, sourced from a sealed board record the sovereign system has already encoded. He doesn't publish it. He files it to a licensed terminal archive in the city's Eastern Press Registry as a formal record notice. The filing is low, quiet. No outlet carries it. The board's monitoring system flags it, and within 4 hours an enforcement notice arrives from Mace Felt, the board's chief legal enforcer, ordering the terminal to remove the filing. Cipher mark logged. Enforcement notice from M. Felt, timestamp 1041, Caldrith Press Registry. Cipher mark count, 413. The removal order is itself encoded. Dale files a second document, a 300-word chain-verified record of the removal order. He files it to a second terminal in the Western District. The board removes it within 6 hours. He files the removal of the removal. Cipher mark count, 419. He starts to understand the rhythm of it. The board cannot stop acting. Every action they take against him is another mark. Every deletion is encoded before it lands. He is not fighting them. He is collecting them, and they're doing it for him. He works for 11 days straight, moving between public terminals across Caldrith. He sleeps 4 hours a night in a press district hostel. He eats from vending kiosks and says almost nothing to anyone. The board sends Mace Felt personally to the hostel on day 4 with a formal cease and desist. Felt is a large man with a practiced look of absolute authority, and he sets the sealed notice on the table in front of Dale like a verdict. Dale picks it up, reads it carefully, and sets it back down. Cipher mark count, 431. Broadcast, null available. Sealed lie present. Verified fact. The cease and desist references license hashtag 4471 as revoked for legitimate cause. Sealed board record confirms. Revocation order was pre-written 6 weeks before any review was conducted. Speak the verified fact aloud. The revocation order for license hashtag 4471, Dale says, was written 6 weeks before the board convened any review. He watches Felt's face, and then he watches something else. Felt's sealed cease and desist notice, lying on the table between them, flickers. The document stamp, the board's own certification seal, cracks at the corner. A single line of original timestamp data surfaces across the bottom of the page, visible and undeniable. Revocation order drafted, 47 days prior to formal review. Board authorization, R. Aldvar. Felt stares at the document. He picks it up. He puts it back down. He leaves the hostel without another word. Broadcast null triggered. Sealed lie cracked. Timestamp broadcast to 1 terminal. Local. Cipher mark count, 432. 1 terminal. Local. Quiet. Nobody is watching yet, but the crack is permanent. The board cannot unseal what the broadcast null has already cracked. Dale goes back to work. By day 9, he has 487 cipher marks. By day 11, filing from a transit district terminal with a 6-minute connection window before the board's automated flag system can intervene, he files his 500th sovereign chain document, a complete reconstructed summary of the 7-year corruption case, sourced entirely from board-sealed records the system has encoded, time-stamped, and chain-verified without a single piece of original hardware. He didn't need the drive. He never needed the drive. Every document he has ever touched was already encoded the moment the class activated. Cipher mark count, 500. Threshold reached. Sovereign INK activated. All reconstructed documents now classified, above board certification tier. Legal standing, unranked / above record / the INK. Broadcast, null upgraded. Verified facts spoken in the presence of a sealed lie now broadcast timestamp crack to all licensed terminals currently active in Caldrith Metro. He reads the classification line twice. Then he closes the terminal window and sits for a moment in the gray transit district hum. Sovereign Inc. Above the board. He rebuilt the entire case from their own sealed orders, their own deletion commands, their own cover-up timestamps, and the law now classifies his reconstructed archive higher than anything the board has ever certified. He requests a formal public hearing. Under Caldrith's press regulations, a fabricator-stamped journalist can still request a public hearing to contest the designation, but the board controls the hearing panel, the schedule, and the chamber. Chairman Rin Aldvar grants the hearing with the particular confidence of a man who has done this before. Dale's request is dated 2 days out. The session is listed as 30 minutes. The chamber is the board's main certification hall on the 42nd floor of the press tower, a room that seats 200, with 6 licensed terminal feeds broadcast live to a mandatory public record archive. Dale arrives early. He sits down at the respondent's table in his worn coat and sets nothing on the table in front of him. No notes, no drive, no files. Aldvar sits at the head of the panel with Mace Felt to his right. Sela Wynn is in the observer's gallery. The board has brought her as a witness. She doesn't look at Dale when he comes in. She's looking at her terminal screen, and she's been looking at it since he sat down, which means she's watching the hearing feed or something adjacent to it, and try not to show that her hands are not entirely steady. Aldvar opens the session with the practiced authority of a man who controls every record in the city. He reads the fabricator designation charges with the measured boredom of a man reading a train schedule. He asks Dale if he has anything to submit for the record. Yes, Dale says. He states, quietly, the first verified fact from the sovereign chain, that the board's Emergency Information Protocol 9, used to seize his archive, requires a minimum 72-hour review period before seizure authorization, and that the seizure order was signed and time-stamped at 5:47 a.m. on the morning of the filing, 1 hour and 17 minutes after the notification was sent to him. Broadcast null triggered. Sealed live present. Chairman Aldvar's certification of the emergency protocol seizure as procedurally valid. Verified facts spoken. Timestamp cracked broadcast to all active licensed terminals, Caldrith Metro. Every terminal in the hearing chamber flickers at the same moment. On the 6 broadcast feeds, and on every licensed press terminal across all 47 districts of Caldrith Metro, a single document surfaces, the board's own internal authorization for the seizure of archive hashtag 4471, timestamped 5:47 a.m., with the procedural review period listed as waived by Chairman Authorization. Signed R. Aldvar. Below it, in the sovereign chain's automatic certification, document classification, above board tier /sovereign /unalterable. The chamber goes very quiet. Dale states the second verified fact, that the fabricator designation against license hashtag 4471 was drafted 47 days before the board convened any formal review, and that the draft order carries Chairman Aldvar's personal authorization signature. Broadcast null triggered. Timestamp cracked broadcast to all active licensed terminals, Caldrith Metro. The sealed draft designation surfaces on every terminal in the city. 47 days prior. Aldvar's signature, clear and unambiguous, in the board's own sealed record. Dale states the third verified fact, that the financial routing between Chairman Aldvar's private accounts and the 3 outlet license redistribution orders, spanning 4 years and 46 documented transfers, is encoded in the sovereign chain at cipher mark entries 187 through 232 and is now classified above board tier and legally unchallengeable. He stops. He doesn't raise his voice. He has never raised his voice. Broadcast null triggered. All sealed financial records cracked. Timestamp broadcast to all active licensed terminals, Caldrith Metro. The room is not quiet anymore. Chairman Ren Aldvar is still at the head of the panel when the Caldrith Metro Press Authority's Independent Oversight Division patches into the live hearing feed, alerted automatically by the simultaneous terminal broadcast of above-tier sovereign chain records. The Oversight Commissioner speaks through the Chamber's central audio system. She informs the panel that under Metro Statute 7, an above-tier sovereign document broadcast to all licensed terminals constitutes an automatic public record and triggers mandatory criminal referral for any board official named within it. Aldvar does not stand. He looks at Mace Felt. Feld is looking at his terminal screen, reading the same document that 47 districts are reading right now, and he has the expression of a man who has just understood that the floor is not where he thought it was. 2 oversight officers enter the chamber from the rear door. Aldvar is still looking at the panel table in front of him when the officers reach him. He doesn't argue. He is smart enough, at least, to understand that the board's authority runs on sealed records, and his sealed records are no longer sealed. They are on every terminal in the city, classified above his own tier, signed with his own name. He stands. He goes with the officers. In the observer's gallery, Sela Wynn closes the screen on her terminal. She sets it on the arm of her seat. She doesn't look at Dale. She doesn't reach for him. She has nothing to reach with. Her transfer contract to the board's flagship outlet, signed 2 weeks before the fabricator stamp was ever issued, is currently broadcasting its own timestamp across Caldrith Metro as cipher mark 389, and the outlet's board of directors has already sent a statement flagging the contract as void under statute. She had been their source. Now, she's their liability. and the board is no longer in a position to protect anyone. The hearing is adjourned by the Oversight Commissioner 12 minutes after it began. Dale sits at the respondent's table for another moment after everyone else has left. The chamber is empty except for the 6 broadcast feeds still running, their indicator lights green and steady. He looks at the terminal screen on the table to his left. Every licensed press terminal in Caldrith Metro carries the same new entry in the public record. First of its kind in the 43 years the Media Licensing Board has existed in the city. License hashtag A4471, DLVORN, classification, unranked/above record/the ink. Below it, in automated chain notation, fabricator designation, voided. Sovereign record, permanent and unchallengeable. Board certification tier, superseded. Dale picks up his coat. He walks out of the chamber. He takes the elevator down 42 floors to the ground level, walks through the lobby of the press tower, and steps out into the afternoon gray of Caldrith Metro. He doesn't stop to look back at the building. The story is already filed. Every terminal in the city is already running it. The board's own records wrote it, and the system encoded it. And there's nothing left for Dale Vorn to say that the chain hasn't already said louder, higher, and permanently above anything Ren Aldvar ever certified. He walks